Boxingvoice.com.
What broke him down? Was it just the body punching? I was hitting him with body punching. I heard him actually, he was crying in there. You were saying that Gibbs was crying when you hit him? Yes. When did that happen? And perhaps the fourth round on.
Boxingvoice.com.
So that you knew you had him by that time. Absolutely, but I knew he was tough and taking those punches.
Doomsday Productions.
Making women gestures like, oh.
Let's go, champ.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to a very special flagship edition brought to you all the way from Orange County, California. Me and Matt, the Hipster Hunster, in the house that hosted and held Border Wars 2018. And it's Thursday, flagship Thursday, right? We got a preview. Errol Spence, Lamont Peterson, and Javier Fortuna taking on Robert Easter Jr. Then Sergey Lipinets and Mikey Garcia hit the headlines. We won't tell you exactly what took place. You got to stick around for that. And Alexander Povetkin back in heavyweight news, plus some other headlines where we'll chop it up back and forth. But yeah, man, you know the number 1-425-569-5241. Press one time to voice your opinion here on the Voice of the People hotline here at the box. Actually, we're not even doing calls, are we, Matt? I mean, it's up to Matt. It's really up to Matt. He's the producer. But we're gonna head on out to Matthew the Hipster Hunter.
Doomsday Productions.
This is a beautiful performance against a very tough guy in Michael Johnson. How do you feel about it?
Fuck that. Conor McGregor.
Boxingvoice.com.
You know me, Larry. From a wicked entrance, from a flip over the rock into a knockout. Now, when the main thing is, I just hope the guy, I wish.
Boxingvoice.com.
Yes, the Hipsters here. Haters beware. What is up, everyone? Man, it's been a bit. It's been like what? Like a week since we've done like a public live show, I feel like. Since Sunday, at least. Since before everyone headed out for Border Wars 3. If you don't know what that is, head to patreon.com/the boxing voice, and you're going to see one of the best fight cards of the year in all boxing, in my opinion. And I'll put all my credibility on the line for that. And we have so many topics to get into. I won't even delve into them right now in a brief sense. Let's just delve from the top to the bottom because we do have a great fight on Saturday and a overall great card on Saturday as well. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a great show as well. And it's good to have Ness in California. So it's going to be a good time.
I'm coming back to Cali. Yo, I'm actually, you don't even know. I have a fucking smile on my face. It could be the sun, 75-degree weather. But it most definitely is being right here next to you. Hearing you right in the mic, actually like in real time just sounds amazing. What isn't amazing is the positioning of this mic. I'm starting to feel fucking uncomfortable.
I know. You know why?
I'm going to have to move this pillow out of the way.
Oh my goodness. Okay. You do that. You move that pillow.
All right. I'm going to have to sit up straight the entire time now. But where do we start? Top of the line, right? I guess Errol Spence.
Yes.
Errol Spence. Hey, did you happen to, I've been busy out here, and I know that you have, but I don't know. You're younger, right? So maybe you'd stay up later. Have you happened to see whatever, I guess, Stephen A. Smith has said about Earl? I mean, it's kind of been all over the media.
Yes, I did. Shout out to AP, Robbie Hearns.
Shout out to the young crowd.
Yo, he definitely spliced up a clip of it. And it was mainly Spence talking about Crawford and Crawford and Thurman, obviously. And Max Kellerman was dogging him bad about a bunch of shit. And especially about Thurman not really being that fight for him. That Thurman's just a really good fighter. And that Crawford's really the super fight. And, Spence with his, Southern hospitality, he's not really going to talk too much in public about it, I feel like. He just said, I want the fights, and that he's willing to take them. So I thought it was interesting. And I think it's a good spotlight for Errol Spence, definitely on first
Did either Crawford or Max or Stephen A. Smith push the Crawford issue? Like, but do you want to fight Crawford?
Yes. Kellerman especially, I would say. Stephen A. as well, but I feel like Kellerman was a little more adamant about it. Spence was, Stephen A. Smith was a little more joking about it. Kellerman was dogging him. Like, he was really aggressive in that interview, I felt like, to be honest. Like, Kellerman was really, like, almost yelling at him, like, talking loud. He definitely raised his tone.
Damn, you make me wish I would have. How long was it?
It's on like a 2 or 3 minute clip that I saw. I don't know how long the full interview was, but that's what I saw.
Okay. So what you gather from it? I mean, what's the final thought? Since we use that a lot around here.
I think in Spence's mind, Thurman's that big fight right now. Maybe in some boxing hipster's mind, like a Kellerman, because Kellerman, in my opinion, is sort of like a boxing hipster that made it big. He thinks Crawford's that big fight. And I can see why, because there are those people that are fans right now that think Crawford-Spence is the real fight at welterweight. That Thurman's just that guy in the way between that fight being the big fight in the division. I can see why they think
I'm
that.
nodding
It's definitely
my head,
premature.
but I don't agree.
It's definitely premature to think that, but I can see why they think that.
Yeah, I can't see why. I think that I think we had a conversation earlier.
Well, I'll put it this way. Spence has always been seen as like the prodigy, right? Like, he's always been seen as like the next guy. I don't think Thurman ever got like that sort of like fan respect. Crawford got that as well.
Yeah, but Thurman never had the opportunity to A, spar with Adrian Broner, B, spar with Floyd Mayweather.
Yes, but he also beat greater names way before Spence did. So, and I think he's also he's a better persona.
Dude, I think
than
that
Spence is.
I think that people forget to really understand how powerful Mayweather is. Like, he made Andre Berto and Mayfield household names because he said he was going to fight them. And when he christened Errol Spence as the next guy, and when Earl did the work himself, because regardless of rumor, something took place in sparring between not only Adrian Broner, but Errol Spence, and it caused media to write articles. It caused Floyd to come out and be an Errol Spence advocate early in, before Earl fought anybody. Oh, yeah. Keith needs to fight Earl. Keith needs to fight Earl. The same thing he's doing with Gervonta Davis right now. But there were also rumors that he wanted to sign Earl. Agreed. And Earl did not sign.
Yes.
I don't hear Floyd saying Earl is the next great anymore. He's putting a few names in there now.
Of course he is.
Okay. Because it's not his promoted fighter anymore. He doesn't have an invested interest anymore. But the fact that Floyd backed him for however long he did, all the fucking famous writers and Kenny Bellis is not, excuse me, what's the Brian Kenny? No. Brian Kenny's of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Or Mauro Morales. What's the guy from MMA that's now on Showtime? I'm going to kill his name.
Brandon Schaub.
No, the other one. The older one.
Oh, Mauro Ranallo.
Exactly.
Shout out to him.
All these types of guys that really don't have the knowledge. They just have either the look, the face, or just simply the fucking contract. Well, Floyd said Spence is the guy. Well, then Spence is the guy. It's like, no. I'm not saying that he isn't. But I'm saying that Keith Thurman was not given the same opportunities. That's just that.
So that's why a Max Kellerman overlooks a Thurman in your mind.
I would think that Max, with all the years in, listen, it's not to discredit him, because I can't. I mean, he just obviously is picking Thurman, and I seem to be. He's picking Crawford or Spence, and I'm picking Thurman. I believe more in Thurman than he does. I don't think it says anything.
You don't think it's maybe like a HBO, ESPN bias? Because he's getting a paycheck from both. He's getting a paycheck from both. Crawford was once with HBO, now he's with ESPN. I mean,
but do they have a connection? Is ESPN and HBO somehow connected?
Well, that doesn't even matter. It's just the fact that you can even throw out HBO. You can even throw it out. He's ESPN. He gets a paycheck from ESPN.
He just likes who he likes. Yo, this is great being here because we could talk over each other and it still sounds great. But I think he just likes who he likes.
I don't know. I think there's a reason that HBO always talks about HBO fighters. ESPN always talks about ESPN fighters.
Of course. It's called invested interest.
Exactly. I think that's the reason why they say Thurman's just a really good fighter. But Crawford, Whoa, that's your legacy fight, Spence.
But Kellerman is with HBO and Crawford is with ESPN, and that's what I was asking you. If you tell me
Kellerman is with ESPN.
Yeah, but he's with on First Take.
He still gets that paycheck.
He's
First
not
Take is
advocating Crawford for his boxing HBO job. Like First Take dabbles in boxing. They speak of other sports every day.
But when he does dabble in it, he definitely rides with the Lomas, the Crawfords, all the top ranked fighters. Obviously.
Not disagreeing.
Just like it was back in the HBO days with Top Rank and HBO. It's the same thing, just on a different network, in my opinion.
I just want to believe that he's not biased.
True. And I love Max.
I think Errol Spence is a phenomenal fighter. Shout out to Derek James and Earl for allowing me in the camp this year for this Errol Spence versus Lamont Peterson fight.
Salute.
You know, it was a thing of beauty to watch him spar 4 different guys, 175-pounder, and just to watch him do what he did. I think I've been in a lot of camps. I've seen a lot of people work. I've been in championship camps, man. Earl is special.
He is.
Floyd did not lie, but because it was Floyd that said it, the world took notice is all I'm saying. And I'm not saying he's a hype job. I'm saying because someone of the caliber of Floyd Mayweather, someone on that popularity level, someone that actually ticks the needle said it, everyone else followed suit.
No, I agree. I think that's a great point. I also think that just because Spence is really special doesn't mean Thurman isn't. You know,
exactly.
I don't think we need to downplay one to raise the other. I think Thurman, Spence, and Crawford are 3 Hall of Famers we are watching right now. I think we're watching a potential great welterweight division, Hall of Fame worthy welterweight division right before us, if you include Sean Porter, maybe Danny Garcia.
That's the beauty, man.
You know, and I think we may not realize it in the moment.
No, we
do.
But
in 20 years, boxing fans are going to look back on this generation of welterweight and go, man, those were great fighters and great fights.
Listen, right before our eyes, in our generation, we have our 4 horsemen. People are afraid to christen them that because it's already been used. So we need to come up with our own 4 horsemen kind of phrase for Errol Spence, Keith One-Time Thurman, Showtime Sean Porter, who can be easily like the haggler of the division, right? The toughest fight, right?
Except like a short version, obviously.
Danny Garcia, if you want to throw him in there. It's just so many names because...
And then Crawford, obviously.
Excuse me. Crawford Danny, right?
Yeah, Crawford,
it's the perception
Danny.
right now.
Right now.
Exactly. The perception right now is Crawford Danny.
Yes.
Or just Crawford, then say...
Danny's on the outside.
No. Or just Crawford. That's your 4. Then just simply say, and the rest of the division is loaded. You got Jesse. You got Danny. You know, you got up-and-comers like Jamal James, just knocked out Diego Chavez. You got guys.
And there was like including
Brandon.
Using the metaphor for the 4 horsemen, there was great welterweights outside of those 4 guys. It was great. They were Rafael Benitez. You know, that could be a Danny Garcia. Somebody that we may not really remember in 20 years, but every hardcore boxing fan knows him. Or maybe that's Sean Porter. You know, like, it's okay that one guy may not be as good as Spence, as good as Thurman, as good as Crawford, but they're all Hall of Fame. They're all great fighters. You cannot deny that.
I think there are, and at the very least, they're our division, our generation's great fighters. But speaking of great, you know, Max thinks Earl is great. The betting odds last I checked had him minus 2,500.
I think it's grown a little bit. I could be wrong.
I mean,
I think the
TV, bro, what are the newest odds, bro? Shout out to our odds keeper, Pittsburgh, bro. But I said last we checked, they were like minus 25. What kind of finish, kind of outcome should I use? Because finish even gives the indication that he must get a knockout. So what sort of outcome should we see from this fight? from Errol Spence, though, right? Because he's the special one.
Like what's acceptable? Like for the fans, like what will satisfy them?
What will make Max Kellerman's rants
It has
true?
It has to be a finish. Maybe not to the level of like a clean knockout, like a Wilder Stavern. It could be like a Brook, Kell Brook like finish, but he has to be way more dominant than the Kell Brook fight. That's what I'm looking for here. Because Lamont Peterson is really good against the B+, maybe A- guys. And obviously he does really good against the C level guys, etc. But he usually falters against those A+ guys, and he's usually faltered pretty heavily at times. If Errol Spence is truly an A+ level guy, so much better than Danny Garcia, etc., then he should be dominant against Lamont Peterson, in my opinion. That will make the Max Kellermans of the world go crazy. Maybe regardless of the finish. If he's just dominant, if he wins a 10-2 decision, 11-1, that might be enough. And if he lays enough punishment, bruises him up, makes him bloody, that might be enough, in my opinion.
Dude, he's a minus 3,800.
Wow.
This shouldn't even go past the 4th round. According to the odds, according to the fans betting money, this shouldn't go past the 4th round. I guess we make picks, or you want to leave it for our final thoughts?
Well, I mean, are we really? We know who we're picking in that fight, right? Like,
True.
Is anyone really picking?
True.
Lamont?
We're not picking with our heart anymore around here. We're trying to be perfect.
I think Lamont might make him competitive. Like we all know that Lamont's body work.
Man, it sounds so good right now.
Well,
this is fucking
plus this
crazy.
great mic that I have.
No,
I mean,
absolutely.
Come on.
Shout out.
But Lamont's boxing skill, the amount of tools he has in his tool belt, his overall experience level is something to put into play here. That he's fought way more high level guys than Errol Spence, in my opinion. Errol Spence has definitely fought maybe a better opponent than Lamont, but Lamont's fought a ton of great guys. You can't take that experience away. Maybe that comes into play. Maybe it's a little bit more like a Austin Trout, Jared Hurd fight, where it's a little bit more, the experience is a factor in the beginning, but the youth, the power of Spence comes into play in the later rounds.
How do these odds work? Because how is Spence a minus 3,800, but Peterson is only a plus 1,900, which, by the way, still is generous. I mean, if I put $100, I can win
1,900.
That's a mortgage. But it's a gamble.
It is. That's why the Vegas odds are the way they are.
It's not only a gamble; it is a risky gamble.
Yeah, because I mean, even if you think, Lamont Peterson can do some good work, I don't think you think he's going to beat Spence.
Now,
you don't think that. Most people that would call in, even though we don't have callers today, sorry, they would be calling in saying, yeah, Lamont's going to make it tough, maybe work the body, but Spence is still going to win.
Now, what happens if Spence loses? Does Lamont get the credit, and it's like rejuvenation of his career, and now you think the perception of Peterson changes and he becomes the new Earl? Is he all of a sudden the dominant welterweight and he can beat everyone the way that the world thinks Earl can? Or was Earl a hype job because he lost to a plus 1,900?
I think it all depends on how he wins. If it's a controversial win, like a Danny Garcia sort of decision
with Mauricio Herrera, how controversial? Preach.
Very controversial. If it's a pretty controversial victory,
as controversial as
Herrera, I like that. Danny Garcia, Herrera.
Danny Jacobs, Triple G.
If Jacobs had won that fight, it would be equally as controversial. You know what I'm saying?
So stick with the Danny Herrera, where everyone, in your opinion, wanted Mauricio Herrera to have been awarded the decision.
Yes.
Versus Danny Garcia.
Yes. I think if it's that sort of win, I think we won't really credit Lamont that much. Maybe just an off night from Spence, the long layoff. You're going to hear a lot of those narratives thrown out there. If it's a quick knockout, which I don't think happens, but let's say hypothetically if it's a quick knockout, then you're definitely going to hear the hype job narrative of Spence be thrown out. And Kell Brook was broken going into that fight. Chris Ajuri, has no power, blah, blah, blah. His record was padded. You're going to hear that narrative from those cynical fans. I think none of those scenarios happen, but I think it's going to be hard for Lamont to get credit for this win. It would have to be a dominant victory. It would have to either be a great fight where he gets a late finish or a dominant win, in my opinion. That's the only way Lamont gets any credit. And even then, he never gets to the point where he gets this Spence hype. The Spence hype does not get transferred to Lamont. That does not happen here if Lamont wins at all, in any scenario, period.
What round did Matisse knock him out? Was that the second?
It was early. I thought it was like the fourth. I could be wrong.
2013. We talking what, 5 years ago?
Yeah, 2018 now. I have no idea. I don't have that off the top of my dome. You have a computer in front of you. You can look it up.
I'm just saying, does 5 years change
It
the
can.
perception of him being chinny?
Maybe.
Because I don't think anyone thought, I know I definitely, let me tell you something. I know it's easy to say right now that Lucas should have beat Peterson the way that he did because that's what took place. But when you think of Lucas having that tight fight with Zab Judah, you know, another tight fight with Devin Alexander.
Well, let's be honest. If Lamont Peterson rematched Lucas Matisse now in 2018, I would pick Lamont Peterson. Probably. He has looked better as of late.
I guess it also depends if this fight wasn't signed or because you're saying after this fight, he could still beat Lucas?
Even after, potentially, depending on the way this fight goes. You know, if he doesn't take too much punishment, obviously. But I think Lamont is going to be a great test for Errol Spence. I think it's going to give him a look that we have not seen Spence face in the pros yet. That's going to be interesting to see. And I think Spence is going to get a good win against a good opponent. Top 10, top 7, wherever you rank Lamont, he's there. He's credible. And I definitely think the Spence hype train is going to keep chugging along. It's going to keep getting passengers. It's going to be the dominant hype train of the welterweight division until he loses, in my opinion. Spence is that guy right now. He has that push, that it factor. For some reason, even though I don't think he has the natural charisma of a Thurman, I think Spence is the guy right now that the industry is pushing and the fans are pushing.
Spence definitely is the guy that the fans, industry, the world, I mean, he's just got to continue to live up to the hype. It's all. The world is his oyster for sure.
He's our age's golden boy in a sense. Like, he is looked at like perfect. He's the Anthony Joshua in the U.S. in a way, where he can do no wrong. You know, like there's that sense about it. You know, if Spence keeps picking up wins, I mean, I can potentially see him going to pay-per-view, to be honest. If he beats the likes of a Crawford, Thurman, you know, Porter, and then he fights the next generation of guys coming up, whoever those may be. Obviously, we're going to find out in a few years. You know, maybe we see Spence being a pay-per-view star. That's potential. That's potentially there.
Well, the undercard, because this is a decent fight to open up the year. I mean, man, I almost felt no low in between, you know, 2017 and 18. I'm really appreciating the way the Showtime opened up the year. I'm pretty sure in the beginning when we first got this fight announced, we probably didn't receive it maybe the way that we are now. I know that I am excited about it.
You mean the co-main event, right?
I mean, the card in general.
The card in general is pretty good, yes.
You know? No, well, I know some wanted a better opponent for Earl in their mind.
Oh, that's not even what it is. For me, it's like, I wish Marcus Brown was fighting somebody better. I love that he's on the card. I wish he was fighting somebody better. You know, certain fights like that, I wish were a little bit better. The card's littered with names, though. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
Robert Easter Jr., Javier Fortuna, amazing fight. Obviously, we're gonna get into that. You know,
well, no, that's where we're going. That's definitely where we're at.
Oh, that's where we're segueing. Okay.
Yeah. Because there's been a lot of talk on this one.
Yes, it has.
You know, I need to take more time to be on the conference calls because I happen to take the time to be on this one, and luckily it was explosive. Fortuna has been saying he's gonna knock out Easter, which let's chat about that a bit. God, I wish this was over here. Can can he even get the knockout? Like, I remember him knocking out Yandel Evans on ESPN, who, shout out to Yandel, got the win over Luis Rosa, which unfortunately, RIP to Luis Rosa,
Yes.
passed away. We were not able to do the show Thursday to mention that.
Via car accident, yes.
But
condolences to his family and everyone involved.
Yeah. But that's who Yandel beat Lewis, but Javier knocked him out in emphatic fashion. He had a good fight with Omar Douglas, but the power wasn't there. Douglas kept coming, but it was a brutal fight.
Mhm.
But do you think him moving up now to face the longer, younger?
Well, he's not moving up. He fought Omar Douglas at 135.
Was it? Are you sure? You better get your box right.
Yo, you get the box right. You have the computer. My computer is the show. I don't know what you're talking about.
Dude, I don't know if I can do that, bro, because
yo, fam, I don't know. Yo, no more excuses. I'm pretty sure it's at 135. I think Fortuna can definitely maybe hurt Easter. I don't know if he can knock him out. I mean, we've seen heavy hitters fight Robert Easter Jr., Richard Comey, Denis Shafikov. If those two guys can't really hurt you and knock you out, I don't think a Javier Fortuna does in any sense of the word. But I think Javier Fortuna can definitely maybe frustrate Robert Easter. The wildness of Fortuna, the wide shots, the flurries that he can do.
Like I said,
he can make it a tough, brutal fight for Easter potentially.
Like I said.
Oh, he was moving up? Oh, damn.
He fought Douglas at 133. He had been at all type of different weights. It says 130, 132, 133, 133, 133. So,
yeah, but that's probably a 135 fight that he's coming in at 133.
Yeah, because he's light.
So.
He's light. That's the point. He's the one moving up, believe me.
Well, Easter's a giant for that division anyways. He's going to be bigger than everyone in that division.
I interviewed the trainer. He's moving up. I was on the conference call. It was also brought up. He's moving up. But he's calling knockout. And he actually got knocked out by Jason Sosa, who people don't think is a world beater.
And who didn't knock out Gamboa.
Who has a soft chin.
We all think is one of the chinniest guys in boxing right now.
And at the time he fought Gamboa, should have knocked him out because Gamboa's he's on a decline.
Agreed.
So what do we have here? Because I remember early on podcasting, it's like, oh, fighter A doesn't beat fighter C, so equals B, all right, whatever algorithm you come up with, it really doesn't matter that Fortuna won or lost to Sosa. He could still possibly beat Easter. But what does your brain tell you?
Are you repping the flag? That's what I want to know.
No, I no longer picking with the heart, unfortunately.
Oh, okay, 2018. That's a New Year resolution.
But I wanted you to maybe convince me, he's the shorter guy, so he could possibly catch Easter.
You want me to convince you? Even though I'm not picking Javier Fortuna, I'm picking Robert Easter Jr. because everyone knows I like Robert Easter Jr. Water. That's fine. I think Javier Fortuna, based off of his style, based off of his aggression, based off of the wide hooks that he likes to implement, almost a Madonna-like effect. I think he can have some success against Robert Easter Jr., who doesn't use his height, doesn't use his reach to his advantage, which has really hurt him in the Denis Shafikov fight and the Richard Comey fight. Because let's be honest, he allowed Denis Shafikov on the inside and allowed it to be an inside fight. And I think Javier Fortuna can easily suck Robert Easter Jr. into that sort of fight. And that's where it could be arguable. And that's where I think maybe Javier Fortuna could win some rounds, maybe get knocked down, maybe have some success, maybe get a upset victory. But I think Robert Easter Jr. is just too young, too powerful, too fast, too skilled. I think he throws the straighter shots, which I always think beat the guy throwing wider shots.
Straighter shots. Skilled, he says. Riddle me this. What happened in the Richard Comey fight?
He won. #W.
Wasn't it not tight? Some even controversial?
I wouldn't say controversial, but it's definitely tight.
Didn't Lou DiBella sign Comey immediately after?
Yes, because
thinking, and hot commodity.
Richard Comey is easily
Arguably undefeated Richard Comey.
Richard Comey is a top 10 lightweight. I don't think Javier Fortuna is a top 10 lightweight.
It's not about Javier. It's about Comey was able to do something we didn't expect.
But my reason as to why he was able to do that is because Richard Comey is a much better fighter than
And
Javier
you're
Fortuna.
basing that off him losing to Easter and losing to Shakakov.
I thought he beat Shafakov.
All right. So Matt's picking Robert Easter.
Yes, by UD. Maybe like a majority decision. I can see a tight fight. I can see a competitive fight here. Definitely. Maybe some knockdowns as well.
I am not going to pick with my heart, so I'm also picking Easter.
Wow. That's crazy. I don't think anyone was surprised by that, Ness.
I have to stack up the wins.
Yeah, early. You gotta get those
to
wins
show
in early.
the credibility, because people try to discredit due to my big heart and my Care Bear like nature.
Hashtag Loma Rigo.
Hashtag Loma Rigo.
Any other fights on the card you want to talk about?
Who's on the card?
Marcus Brown's fighting.
Oh man, but he's fighting somebody nobody ever heard of, and the only people that heard of him are the guy that watched David Benavidez fight in Brooklyn on the Barclays Center and kind of get a gift decision according to Showtime announcers. So I guess we should be interested, but we can't even pronounce the guy's last name or maybe even his first name.
Yeah, but I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. And
we're gonna call him Double F. Isn't it 2 F's? His name is like Fatu Fastu or Fatu Natusti.
I have no idea what his name is, to be honest.
You're bugging.
I have no idea who he's fighting. I just know it's a no name.
Horrible. No, he's not a no name. He's not. You better Google it.
Okay. You're going to school me?
No, Google it and read the stories, bro. It's true. I was at the Barclays Center. Like, people don't know if David should have been given the TKO that he got.
Okay.
I'm talking about David Benavidez.
I understood who you're talking
the one
about.
who's already rematching someone.
Yes, I understand who you're talking about.
The 19-year-old prodigy.
Yes, I understand who you're talking
that
about.
They probably are rushing.
Yes, when you said Benavidez, I think everyone
that spars Triple G.
I think Marcus Brown is at least a fighter to watch. Maybe not the fight's interesting, but he is a contender at the light heavyweight division. Definitely watch that fight. Isn't Adam Wanaki fighting on the card as well?
Oh.
Is that the heavyweight?
He is. He's also fighting someone. I think these are the I forgot I had to sit up with this fucking mic. I think these are the remember we talked about this a couple of shows ago. These are the Al Heyman. Ooh, look at what's there. Shout out to my girl. Yo,
I thought that was Doomy's, to be honest. I thought you left it here.
Might be. It's pretty full. Yo, so these are those Al. I think my theory.
Your opinion.
My opinion.
Only yours, not mine.
And nor are they of El Camino and A&M Credit Repair.
Or even TBVs.
These are my
They're just Nestor Gibbs.
They're just mine.
That guy.
So my theory is that these fights that are difficult for us to pronounce the opponents' names, like Marcus Brown and Adam Wanaki, are some sort of a payday.
What do you mean? Like there's like some benefactors, some investors involved?
No, it's like I can't give you for the next fight. I can't give you $2 million on a check. So here's $700,000 to fight Fatu Natusi, and then here's another 1.2 to fight the winner of Adonis versus Badu Jack. You know what I mean? Same thing for Wanaki. It's like I can't give you $2 million, but I want everyone to stay happy and stay with me. Here's another $250,000 to fight this heavyweight. No one knows. Stay undefeated. Continue being a Polish draw in New York City.
There's no way they're making that much money. I hope you know that.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, if a champion like Jamel Charlo was making $100K against Charles Hatley, I doubt Marcus Brown is making, consistently over 6 figures.
Very true.
Let's just be honest.
To put things into perspective, Matt.
I bet he's getting paid good.
but it's still, I still think it's part of a bigger payday. Maybe, this gets him that 250, you know. But I mean, is he gonna go in there for 150 versus Adonis Badu Jack winner? Just because Charlo defended at 100, and that's on paper, bro.
That's again, we're using only reported
100K
payouts.
is on paper, bro.
He didn't get paid 100K for that. Let's be honest.
I know that.
With the amount of jewelry that he gets, the amount of what he is flossing on.
I mean,
on
the
IG,
dude's buying
like there's
retro
no way.
cars. He's buying retro classic cars. He's got collectors
that
already
are at least like 250,
and no one knows him besides the boxing community. So believe me, that $100,000 Nevada Athletic or New York City fucking commission check that they wrote, that's bullshit.
Agreed. I'll put it this way: the reported payout from guys like Marcus Brown and Wanaki is not going to be that much. But again, that was just a rabbit hole. I think Al Heyman or PBC or whoever you want to call it makes these sorts of fights on these cards to try to keep their guys busier because they need to, and B, to try to stack the card in some way with names. Sort of like Eddie Hearn does. Eddie Hearn will have a ton of names on the card that he's been pushing that are fighting soft touches. You know, there is a
shout out to Josh Teller. He's about to fight fucking Humberto Soto. Yo, Eddie is the new Bob.
Yo, he's good.
Yo, Bob is 80. Eddie is just
Eddie
starting.
Eddie can rap dog shit and hand it to your mom, and your mom will accept it as the best present she's ever had. That's how good of a salesman he is. Easily. But I think there's a way to keep his guys busy, give him some money, and try to stack the cards in some way. You know, it's sort of like what Eddie Hearn's doing, sort of like what Bob Arum did for days, and sort of like what Golden Boy has done on occasion with stacking a lot of prospects on a card. Hopefully that's what it is here. Hopefully it works. And plus, remember, every one of these fights is on Showtime on YouTube for free and on Facebook. So if you want to watch all the prelims, you can do that live on their YouTube. Which you should,
because Adam Wanaki is pretty.
And Marcus Brown. I don't know what's going to be on the telecast, to be honest.
Wanaki is pretty good. Very exciting. And so is Marcus Brown. I think
Marcus Brown's good.
Ready to show that he's ready.
Unfortunately, this is not the fight for that. This is the worst fight for that.
I think that it can be if he goes in there and gets a definitive knockout win over a guy that David Benavidez already has a controversial win over.
I think he's going to get swallowed up in the news. You have Errol Spence on the card. He's going to dominate the news cycle instinctively, right? And then you have Robert Easter against Javier Fortuna. That could potentially be an early contender for fight of the year with the way those two guys might,
jump
clash.
The gun.
Yeah, I'll jump the gun. You know me.
Nah, but you know what? Shout out to Fortuna, who was arguably in fight of the year last year with Douglas.
You know, he's one of those guys that always puts on exciting fights. So I assume that fight's going to be exciting.
I put on for my city. Yo, this is so great being right here because you can't do this.
Like talk like this or like
I couldn't just jump in with that ad lib because it wouldn't be heard because the system. But now being here, it's like, oh, they heard that.
I think Marcus Brown, Wanaki, I think those guys are going to be lost in the news cycle. I think you're going to get a lot of Spence headlines, maybe some Rob Easter Jr. Headlines. You know, obviously he's going to be calling out names. That's going to be interesting to see who he calls out if he wins. Obviously, and Errol Spence. You're going to hear Thurman headlines. You're going to hear Crawford headlines with Spence. Those two guys are going to dominate the news cycle.
I think now is the time to release that Thurman.
Ooh.
Now, the time is now.
The time is now.
After the fight, it's like actually Saturday. It's like doo doo doo.
So you want me? I'll drop it. I'll drop it.
They're gonna be.
I'll do that later. They can wait. Also, in terms of getting lost in the news cycle, there's a big UFC fight that day.
Why does he do this?
Hey, come on, man. There are fans that do go from both. You know, I'm just saying. In terms of news cycle, that's all I'm talking about. In terms of headlines, what people want to read and consume in terms of content. You do have some competing factors here for Marcus Brown to get some sort of attention, in my opinion.
Okay. So who else is on this? Adam Wanaki, Marcus Brown, anybody else? Locals? Any more locals? Titus, maybe Colbert, Richardson, Hitcherson Richards?
Yeah, he's fighting.
Okay.
Hitcherson's fighting.
Okay. I like that they're keeping him active. It's probably like his fourth one this year, maybe.
Obviously, I think Anthony Peterson's fighting on the card.
Anthony Peterson. Okay. Right. Oh, yes, he is. Yes, he is the brother. But he's also he's fighting, I think, somebody in Lopez or something like that.
It's like when the Gary Russell Jr. fights. All the Gary Russells are fighting on the card.
Yeah, it's a brother thing. I hear you. I mean, headbangers thing, baby.
True.
It's like when TBV fights. All TBV's fighting.
Agreed.
So what do we got next? We have confirmation on some breaking news that the Mikey Garcia versus Sergey Lipinets, where Mikey Garcia was attempting to move up to 140 pounds and capture the IBF junior welterweight crown from Sergey Lipinets. Thank God for the internet and social media, Matt, because I wouldn't have believed this. But with Sergey's hand looking like a tractor,
damn,
ran over it.
Yo, that hand looked bad. It looked like that hand ate other hands.
I want you to head to our YouTube channel and check the thumbnail because you can see it blown up. I mean, it is bad. I don't even know how that happened, to be honest with you. Was that a spar? You think that was a sparring accident, a freak sparring accident?
Probably. I mean, I doubt that's against the bag, right? Like, you usually don't break your hand against a heavy bag. If your hand's hurting, you stop hitting the heavy bag. The times that I've hurt my hand in boxing training, it's usually been in sparring. Hitting an elbow and fucking up a knuckle. That's more likely to happen than I think hitting the bag. It's probably a sparring accident. That's usually the case.
That's probably trying to block a left hook or some shit. That's very swollen. So, I mean, now, have you heard if the card is altogether scrapped or because
the term that's being thrown around is postponed, and that is going to stay in
and that's
San Antonio.
Exactly what I heard from Robert, because I told Robert we were going to be in town, and he's like, come by. Then I texted him yesterday, and he's like, you know what, let me see. I don't know if Mikey's going to work now that the fight's possibly postponed.
Yes, and again, I think that's like a dreaded term. Like, I don't know if they can run it back as quickly as they may think, or as Mikey may want. Mikey may want to keep fighting. He may want to have a fight and stay active. That may be a factor here.
I know, throwing away a camp, bro. I mean, you spent money on sparring partners. You stop having sex with your girl. You're being extra disciplined on a diet, and then all of a sudden your opponent has an injury, has to pull out. Do you just start all over? And remember what the Porters used to tell us, like, starting all over from their standpoint is a bad thing because it's like you didn't do nothing with that camp. That's why they put together the exhibition with Leonardo Tyner in their very own gym, because they've been waiting for Thurman, training, and they never got to get that release. You need that fucking release.
And especially with Mikey being, having the promotional issues that he did and having that time off, it would be unfortunate if he takes a long layoff, which he already is under. So I really think it'd be Mikey's best interest to stay active. He doesn't need to necessarily fight the best opponent. Do what Sean Porter did. We accepted that because we like Sean Porter. We like Mikey. We will accept what he does. We can accept a cherry from Mikey, because we like Mikey.
But who's the cherry? Who's shitty fight? Omar Figueroa could step in. There have been rumors of him and Adrian Broner. Nothing's been solidified. Omar is from Willasco, Texas. Let him step in and save the day. Keep a fight in Texas. Finally put a Mexican in his demographic, in his market. Oh, why not match him with another popular Mexican from actually that state? I want these guys to start promoting these fights properly. Stop relying on these site fees or whatever it is that's going on in these backdoor meetings that we don't know.
I like that, to be honest. I think that's a good cherry. Even not to use that term, too loosely, but I like that fight.
Well, you are using that. I don't think Omar Figueroa, an undefeated multiple division champion, is a cherry.
Okay, you can think that. I think a lot of people think that he, based off of his injuries, based off the way he's looked as of late, does not look like he is elite caliber competition at this point. But that's beside the point. I think that's a great opponent. If he wants a tougher opponent, maybe Adrian Granados. That might make some sense. Under the same, PBC Al Heyman umbrella, which would probably be where who the fighter is from. I wonder if it's gonna be for the lightweight, the light welterweight title as well. That's something else to throw in there because Mikey really only moved up for that vacant strap. If that's no longer on the line,
wait. I don't think that's vacant. I think Lipinets already owns it.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, that's right. Not vacant strap. Lipinets already owned it. So if he doesn't get a title shot at 140, does he stay at 140? Because he still has his belt from 135 from my understanding.
He does have the 135.
So
but does Mikey fly to New York City? Is he going to be in town for this Errol Spence fight in Brooklyn and show up now that he's all of a sudden available?
Maybe. But I think even if he does, it's not going to be from a standpoint of that he's scouting out competition. That's not what that is.
What the hell else would he go all the way to New York City for?
We've seen fighters go to fights just to enjoy the fights.
Not a West Coaster all the way to the East for a fight, bro. You watch that shit on TV.
That's true. But again, I don't think he looks at the winner of that fight. He's not gonna fight a Spence. He's not gonna move up.
Whoa, Spence, man, get your
sorry, Easter.
Unification with Easter. He's still 135-pound champion, buddy.
That's true, but I mean,
shout out to the West Coast. I can't believe when we're done, it's only 7. I can still have tacos.
Even if that's the case, we know that there's been negotiations according to Easter. That there's been offers thrown on the table for Garcia. And Robert Easter says it was good money. And Mikey turned it down, according to Easter. Again, all according to Easter. Does Mikey want that fight right now? Does he even really want to stay at 135? There's a lot of questions right now because of this postponement. I'm using air quotes for the podcast folk. So I'm curious as to how and what Mikey does next as a result of this. I definitely think Mikey does not wait for Lipinets, though. I don't think that happens.
I don't want him to either.
There's no reason. Lipinets isn't a star.
He beat Broner, and he needs to continue to go off that high. Speaking of, and shout out to, Broner posted on his Instagram, not that at this point it means nothing. Poor kids like the little boy that cried wolf. But he posted on his Instagram, I will avenge my losses to Garcia and Porter.
I saw that. That was funny. I laughed.
You laughed? Matt, you're so disrespectful. He's a 4-division champion.
He can definitely get maybe one of those fights back.
So you don't think that he's a big enough name where Sean Porter or Mikey would consider a rematch?
I did not say that at all. I thought we were talking about winning the fight. He's taking those fights back. That implies winning those fights.
Okay.
He can get the fights. Absolutely. It's Adrian freaking Broner, man. Like, he's one of the biggest stars in boxing in terms of metrics. So I wouldn't be surprised by that at all. He gets a couple wins together. He looks halfway decent. He's right back in there with an A-lister, with another A-level guy for a title shot, for whatever it is. You know that. He still has better numbers than a majority of guys on Showtime.
Now, he is training. I've noticed that he's with our good friend Kevin Cunningham, who
I noticed that too.
Allowed us to host our TBV Border Wars Season 1 in his Palm Spring Cunningham camp quarters.
I forget what it was officially called, to be honest.
Well, definitely a home away from home where a fighter can retreat to and stay focused, which is what Adrian Broner is trying to tell us he is doing.
And
buy or sell?
I'll buy it, but doesn't necessarily think that Adrian Broner's all of a sudden an A-level guy. I can buy that he's dedicated to boxing, but that doesn't mean I automatically think he can beat a Thurman, a Spence, a Porter, a Danny, a Mikey. That doesn't mean those things at all. Tyson Fury can be the same thing. Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury can be dedicated to lose all the weight and still lose to Joshua and Wilder. Just being dedicated and being in shape doesn't necessarily mean you're better than those guys. There's other things involved with winning a fight than those two things. in my opinion.
Well, what else do we got here?
Oh, your favorite topic.
Povetkin.
Povetkin versus David Price. David Price agreed to terms to a contract. From what I saw last, Povetkin has not officially agreed back, I guess, according to Eddie Hearn. I can look that back up. That's what the AP Robbie Hearns last sent me. So yeah, I mean, let's hypothetically, let's say this fight goes through, which, I mean, if David Price says yes, I assume Povetkin's going to say yes. Povetkin could easily win this fight. We all know that. And it'll be on the Joshua Parker undercard, which I think is probably the biggest factor of this news, is that this is on the undercard of that fight. In particular, cue the X-Files soundbite, that is something to take note of. That's something that, perks my ears, so to speak.
For David Price,
Poor bastard.
this is a good fight.
Don't say that.
This is a good opportunity. It's rumored. I guess it's announced, right?
I don't.
All right. So whatever. No, you just said that. I totally heard you say Robbie didn't confirm it. So what is interesting and important to note is that it is rumored that it should be on the Anthony Joshua versus Joseph Parker undercard.
Agreed.
If that is correct,
that's the key part of the news.
If that is correct, then for David Price, this is a magnificent fight with a door that can open up to many, many, many more. If David somehow could beat Alexander Povetkin, then he could slide in as a Anthony Joshua opponent, I know that the world wants Deontay Wilder, but I can clearly see Eddie Hearn and Matchroom preparing different avenues. Dillian White and Lucas Brown is now signed, sealed, and delivered. It can easily make an opponent for Anthony Joshua. If Dillian White can beat Lucas Brown, that rematch becomes domestically a bigger fight. It can be, it'll sell more pay-per-views probably than the first time. He's now on a 4-fight, maybe win streak, Dillian is. And Anthony Joshua, on the other hand, it's like, hey, tough fight with, who'd he fight? Charles Martin, then Dominic Brazil. I mean, he just fought Eric Molina, then he went in there with Klitschko, tack him, goes in there, unifies with, he actually unified with Klitschko, and then goes in there and fought Takum. Now he's trying to continue the unification with Joseph Parker. Hey, he wants a Dillian rematch back home. I don't think the world would be upset. But he also has a mandatory defense on the WBA side of things with Alexander Povetkin that somehow managed to put himself in the rankings high enough to even be thought of in a title shot. So, that's a second avenue. So I just see Wilder as a 2019 scenario.
Agreed. And also, to the point of like, how is Povetkin in this state? I mean, Luis Ortiz is in a title shot. He's fighting Deontay Wilder. Like, if we're not going to care about
shout out to the diet being over.
Shout out to Duncan. Shout out to Dunky. If Luis Ortiz is going to be forgiven by the industry, the sanctioning bodies, whoever it may be, that you want to say they are forgiving him. If they're forgiving Luis Ortiz, why are we now condemning Povetkin?
Exactly.
We need to be consistent here. I'm not saying we forgive Povetkin or we condemn him. I'm saying we have to be consistent. We as in the boxing culture, the boxing community, we have to get on the same page as to what the fuck we're going to think about when a guy tests positive for PEDs, banned substances, and the like. We need to get on the same page here, and we need strict standard protocol as to what happens when a guy pops one time, a second time, 3 times, etc. And if we're going to allow Luis Ortiz, again, in a title shot against Wilder, directly after he popped for a second time for a banned substance /PED, then I have no issue with Povetkin being in this position where he's almost a mandatory or some shit like that. Yeah, why not? Why not? We've accepted it with Luis Ortiz. Like I can't be mad.
But I think the question is, does this push the Wilder fight back?
Absolutely,
Having a
it
mandatory
does.
with a sexy enough name as a Povetkin, because let's be honest, the only guy to knock out Povetkin is Vladimir Klitschko.
Agreed. And I think that's also a winnable fight for Joshua. I think Povetkin will sort of be an easy style for Joshua to fight. While he may be a more difficult style matchup for a Deontay Wilder, let's say. I think it just shows that there's a plethora of options out there for Anthony Joshua to fight and quote unquote marinate the Deontay Wilder fight, which every side is saying is the mega fight. So we know they're going to push that back a bit. That's the history of boxing. They're going to push that back. How long it is the question. That is the question. Is it 2019? Is it the end of this year? Is it the summer of this year? Is it 2020? Those are the questions we need to start asking either Joshua Wilder and Eddie Hearn
and the 2019. I mean, how many fights did Anthony Joshua have last year?
2.
And the year before that?
Maybe 3, to be honest. But remember, him going to a 2-fight-a-year fighter is recent. Eddie Hearn did say that, and Joshua said that. And we know every guy, when they get to that championship money status, they go back to 2 fights a year, a la Canelo, a la even Triple G now, in a sense.
Hence Wilder 2019 and Dillian White and Alexander Povetkin easily fitting the bill for the entire.
Agreed.
I mean, those guys might be his 2019 schedule.
Just to paint it out for people that it may be hard to understand, you have Joseph Parker in March. He's not fighting till fall or end of summer.
Well, they usually have him fight in November, right? Didn't he fight November, October last time?
I believe so. So we're going to look at that for either a Dylan White, Lucas Brown winner or a David Price Povetkin winner. And then spring of 2019, he fights the next guy. And then the end of 2019 will be Wilder.
Rocky story. Like. If David Price could win it, Rocky story.
Can you imagine?
If he could win just the Alexander shot, because then he automatically
that's what I'm saying.
Gets that Joshua Golden Willy Wonka ticket we like to talk about.
Oh, and Eddie Hearn will sell the shit out of that based off of the alleged knockdown and sparring that David Price gave to Joshua. So Eddie Hearn can sell that shit to the UK domestic audience. They would have no issue with that.
Listen, we've already agreed that Eddie Hearn could sell, water to a well.
Yes.
So, what else do we have? Headlines today. What was out there that's come across?
I believe we have another official fight for one of the vacant straps from Terrence Crawford that he, moved up in weight and vacated. I believe it's Prograis versus Victor Postal is announced and official, and it has a date. I can look up the
WBC, huh?
I believe so.
About time that they announced that one and allowed it to happen. I like Riga's program. Shout out to him. Hopefully one day he invites us to his camp out there. He's in Texas too. He's not in New Orleans. He's in Texas because when that freakish water happened in Texas, his house got flooded.
Agreed. And I think he's from
New Orleans
though. I love Prograis, man. I think that guy has some talent, man. I'm curious as to what his capacity is in terms of weight, though, because he does seem sort of like a small guy.
He does seem short.
I wonder if he can move up. I wonder if he can move down, because 140 is such a barren division. Maybe a Mikey moves in there, can get that fight, maybe. But even then, it's a long shot in my opinion. I think Prograis is one of those guys that he's a great fighter. That's a little bit unknown. And he's in an unknown division, unfortunately.
So Lucas Matisse isn't he back in action this weekend as well?
No, that's next weekend.
Okay. Because I've been seeing a lot of Matisse training, and the machine is alleged to be back.
Yes, that's true. He's fighting a no-name, though. I mean, I don't care about that fight or that fight card. I mean, Jorge Linares is on that card. Like, I don't care about that. That's it. That's
okay.
in LA.
Okay, Matt. Don't don't
It's okay.
overload on the circuit board. What about that sexy Freddie Roach news and how he likes the Manny Pacquiao Lomachenko fight because Crawford is too big, too young?
I mean, how many times have we talked about Freddie Roach saying stuff in the media and none of it like come to fruition? Like Freddie Roach is that guy that just loves talking.
But we can't act like we didn't hear rumors of a 138-pound Manny Pacquiao, Vasil Lomachenko catchweight fight in the past. Maybe this is Pacquiao's only option at this point for a big fight and a safe fight. Because, yeah, he could be offered big money to fight Crawford, but it's kind of a like passing the torch fight. On the other hand, with Lomachenko, I know the world think he's pound for pound number one, but he's still older than Crawford. He's still smaller than Crawford.
Agreed.
So it's probably the better choice if you're Pacquiao. And even if Vasil knocks you out, I mean, let's be honest, he doesn't even pop a cherry. The kid makes you quit.
I don't think it's real news. I think this is a case of not fake news. It's obviously Freddie Roach saying this. I think it's just Freddie Roach just saying this, though. Like, there's no, like, venom behind it. Another piece of news. I forget his name. Ogawa. Kentry Ogawa, who beat Tevin Farmer, got popped for, I believe it was synthetic testosterone. His win is over Tevin Farmer. Is most likely going to be ruled a no contest, and he's most likely going to be stripped of the belt from what ESPN has been reporting. So hopefully, they kind of,
But they don't give it to Farmer, right?
Nobody erases the loss, and I guarantee he's going to get another shot at that vacant belt, right? That's what I'm assuming. That whoever the next guy in line is going to be against Tevin Farmer. Maybe we get a Gervonta Davis fight finally. I doubt it. But I would assume because of the nature of that fight, Tevin is still going to get that vacant shot. Absolutely. And, it's a little bit of universe karma. I like that. Some justice being served out. I like it.
Yo, so what do you know about this Ray Robinson kid?
Very little.
Me too.
That was a great topic, Ness. Salute.
Well, he's fighting my boy Uldani Ulgas.
Oh man, Ugas got beat by Thomas Delorme, man. Come on.
What?
Remember that fight? Do you not remember that fight?
No.
That was the Mayweather-McGregor undercard on Fox.
So it was controversial?
It was controversial, but I mean, you thought Ugas was going to win by knockout. He stepped in late notice and got, in my opinion, whooped. I forget.
Yeah, but let's not forget. Wait. Let's not forget that he had been stepping in late notice since Jamal James.
True. I'm just throwing that out there, just for added context.
And then after that, he beat Brian Peralta.
Yes.
Gave him his first loss.
Agreed.
He beat Virgil Hunter's creation. I can't even pronounce his name, but everyone called him the Wolf because he was super hairy. Not Harry, hairy. And then, yeah, whatever. He beat some dude named Nelson Lara, and then he had that mishaps with Delorme, but he had been fighting too often trying to get these opportunities. This was a guy that already had suffered some losses. He trained in New Jersey at Julian Rodriguez's old gym back in the day. And then he eventually landed with Ismael Salas in Las Vegas, who is Cuban like himself. Shout out to his platform shoes he wears. And he's really put them together, But
agreed.
Ray Robinson isn't the same Ray Robinson that people might think he is. They may think of Ray Robinson and think of the one that fought maybe in Islandri Laura, which is probably not Ray either, but something similar Robinson like that. This kid's have 2 losses, but they're only to Brad Solomon, who is like a DMV guy that's very good, that you probably click on his name, and he probably only has 1 loss. He just hasn't had that opportunity. He is signed to Heyman, so he'll get that TV exposure soon enough. And his other loss is to Sean Porter.
Yes.
So just shout out to Ulgas. This fight is landing on the Danny Garcia, Brandon Rios undercard, and I just wanted to bring it up a little bit, I guess, because Ulgas, like I said, he's been stepping in late notice, knowing that he had 2 losses early in his career, trying to change that perception. And, you don't look great in every fight, but he got the win, so he needs to capitalize.
I think Ugas has a low ceiling but a high floor. You know, like his bottom is very high. He's going to beat a lot of C-level guys and some B-level guys, but that's about the extent of it.
Yeah, but he's in the welterweight division where that matters.
Yes.
If he could get a fight with Luis Colasso, that's a big fight for Ugas.
Who is, I believe, ready and trying to get a fight coming off of a hand surgery.
And we're talking about this guy losing to Porter. Imagine he could get a tune-up. Porter has a hurt hand. Could Ugas get a tune-up with Porter? Do they know him well enough since Ulga trains in Vegas now with Ismail Salas? Maybe does Ken think, yeah, this guy used to fight at 140. He's moving up to 47. We've sparred with him in the past. We've used him. Sean stopped them. You know, they always got footage of Sean doing something great in sparring. So it's like you just never know where these kids land if they just keep winning.
Agreed. I just don't think Ugas has that in him. I haven't seen that. I've seen him struggle in fights often, and that concerns me. That really does concern me when you're struggling with the B-level guys. If you're that good, you shouldn't be struggling with those guys, to be honest. But again,
honing in on the craft, Matt.
But
many would say you shouldn't be struggling, but you could be honing in on the craft.
Maybe. Again, I've never thought that much of Ugas like you have. You always thought of him as different. He's your Felix Diaz, in a way.
No, because I wasn't beating a drum when he fought a guy like Crawford.
I mean, if Ugas got a big fight with Sean Porter, you'd be happy. You'd be happy for Ugas. Don't lie.
I wouldn't be mad.
Oh, come on. Don't stunt. Don't stunt. You love Ugas. He's like your best friend, man.
Whatever.
No. Let me get my jokes off. It goes Wilder, Danny, then Ugas for you.
Wow, that's crazy. Speaking of guys that I do love, Tyson Fury has stepped up and offered to be Joseph Parker's lead sparring partner. What do you think about that?
Tyson,
he just knows how to fucking stay in the media.
That's what I was going to say. Tyson Fury knows exactly what to say to get in the headlines. And he knew he wasn't going to get AJ to fight him before Parker. Like, he knows that. He's not dumb. But he said that over and over again. Why? To get in the media. When this fight got announced and everything's now really official, they had the press conference, etc. How is Tyson Fury going to stay attached to AJ? Oh, spar his next opponent. Or at least offer to. Because even offering to, even without doing it, will create headlines. Brilliant move by Tyson Fury. But we know that. We've always known Tyson Fury is a natural self-promoter. That he knows exactly what to do to sell himself when he's obviously, clearer in his head, I just hope that he continues with the seeming weight loss. Because he's seeming to lose weight. He seems to be getting healthier. Just his demeanor. He's definitely seeming happy. So I just hope he just continues to get better.
All I want for Christmas is Amir Khan to say yes to Jamal James as a tune-up.
That's not happening.
Did you see the headline?
No, I did not.
Jamal James saying he's open to facing Amir Khan on his comeback fight.
Well, anybody would be open to that fight. Come on.
Yeah, but
that's an easy
the
payday
level, though.
And a knockout. Come on.
Yeah, but that's the level that Amir Khan will be looking at.
No. Jamal James got to win over Diego Chavez, man. You're not going to fight that.
He also lost to fucking Ugas.
Yeah, true. But come on, Ugas against Amir Khan. I might pick Ugas. I give Ugas shit. But I might pick Ugas.
Yo, this guy's all over the place. It's beautiful to be right here with him and watch his face as he gets caught in some of the bullshit he says.
Come on, man. Like, styles make fights. Just because I think Ugas doesn't beat the A guys doesn't mean I don't think he can beat Amir Khan. I don't think Amir Khan's an A-level guy at this point. Do you? No.
Do I think who?
Amir Khan's an A-level guy at this point. Or was he ever?
I don't know. Maybe he was.
Maybe he was, exactly. So, I mean, yeah, Ugas can beat a somewhat faded Amir Khan. And I would assume that a guy... I don't know who we're talking about. I forgot.
Jamal James.
Jamal James, thank you. I think Jamal James could easily beat Amir Khan. Easily. He has the height. He has the power. He has the natural boxing ability. He could be Amir Khan coming off the long layoff, coming off the knockout.
He can. That's why I said all I want for Christmas is for Amir Khan to take the fight. But
that's not gonna,
he's also showed the vulnerability. I just think his height maybe has reached. He's probably not going to get it, And it is Jamal saying it, not Amir. So whatever.
The names we have heard are more likely, like Sammy Vasquez, Miguel Vasquez. Shout
out to Dove.
Was it Eddie Gomez?
You guys should check out our video on youtube.com/Thaboxingvoice done by Dove Joel on the Amir Khan. He did get an inside tip. This is the same correspondent that brought you the inside tip on the postponement of
David Hay, Tony Bellew too.
Damn, so official to be in the same. It's like boom. It's like, you seen that right there?
Well, if I wasn't looking, that'd be awkward.
It doesn't even matter. We're in sync. Shout out to patreon.com. Don't forget to head on over to Patreon so that you can make this a possibility every single show
with better production, with
way better production.
Yeah.
I mean, this
is on the road.
Yeah, this is on the road. This is I'm here for Border Wars. I'm not here for the show, but one day we will be. Linares, he's about to fight somebody in a couple of days.
Something Gesta, something like that.
No, that's not happening. Gesta's on the card. They're not fighting each other, are they?
Or is he? Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I am not sure.
I could be wrong. I mean,
you could be right, because maybe Gesta and the other, I don't even know what's the proper term to say for
Asian.
The other Asian on the card.
That's broad. You can say Asian.
The other Asian on the card is the B sides, and maybe Linares and Lucas are the A sides. You could be right.
I know that Linares and Matisse are the two A sides that are double headlining the card, and they're both taking easy fights. I forget who. I remember.
All right,
I remember,
so then Linares is fighting Gesta. When is that happening? You said next week. So
next week.
With the postponement of Mikey, maybe that is perfect timing.
Could be. But again, we've seen Mikey not want to work with Golden Boy. That's the thing. We've seen a reluctance from Mikey to sort of finalize those fights, at least from what we've seen in the media. Again, we don't know what's happening behind the scenes. We don't know what's in the contracts. We don't know. So we can't speak with, affirmed opinions or facts here about the contracts. But in the media, guys like Linares, guys like Easter are continuing to say, we sent them good offers. We sent good offers and they said no. So I'm assuming that Mikey is looking for something else right now. I don't know what that is, but he's looking for something else, in my opinion.
Speaking of something else,
Mm-hmm.
Got to bring you back to your 2017 favorite fighter, Jeff the Rabbit Horn.
He's not my favorite fighter of the year. I don't know why you're saying that.
There are
Stop
rumors
lying.
that his fight may land at Madison Square Garden. I know that we normally don't even go to fights anymore because we're busy doing the shows, but are you coming to New York City to see Jeff take on Terrence?
Wait, that fight's in New York, not Vegas?
Yeah, it said to the MSG, Madison Square Garden, on April 14th. But it's a question mark. It's a possibility. It's a rumor. The rumor mill.
Oh, it's a rumor. Okay.
The rumor mill.
I'm definitely not flying to New York for that one.
Well, I thought Jeff was your boy.
No.
I thought he beat Pacquiao.
He did beat Pacquiao. Doesn't mean he's my boy. Crawford's my boy. Come on. Get it right here.
Oh, wow. Maybe that would have been, this would have served me better to read when we were talking about Loma earlier.
Oh, what is it?
Because usually Klimas strikes me, Igis Klimas strikes me as the guy that he's pretty much straight up, right? So he doesn't do or say many jokes. So if he thinks that Pacquiao's old and there's nothing to gain from Lomachenko fighting him, well, then Pacquiao's probably not going to be facing Lomachenko.
I mean, that does seem weird to say in the media if you're trying to hype a fight up, right? Like, it's not a good sign if you think that if you want that fight to happen. I'll put it that way.
And he's always been, like he's not the Riddler when he's normally in the media. He's not.
No, he's very straightforward.
Yeah, he's telling you what's happening because this is the same guy that represents, Usyk and Kovalev and
All those
Lomachenko and everybody.
I think I can see why they think that, because you got to remember that they did 1.7 million views average on ESPN with Rigondeaux, and Rigo's really a nobody. Like, they were able to generate hype for that fight, right? Manny Pacquiao, the star that he is, only did 2.9 million average on ESPN, the same exact channel. He only did around 1.2 million more. Like that, for a guy that is the star of Pacquiao compared to the star of Loma, who is drastically lower. Loma's on the rise up. Maybe they think we don't need him. Maybe they think if we just beat good guys again and we can hype it up in the way that we did, yeah, I think we can get that. That they can continue to become a star for Loma. I think they may not need Pacquiao in their eyes. Do I think that may be a little bit foolish? Absolutely. Because Pacquiao is still Manny Pacquiao. That name, for whatever it is, still means something. There's a reason guys like a Chavez, guys like a Morales, guys like a Muhammad Ali stuck around and fought guys they shouldn't long past their expiration date. Because there's money in it and people will pay them to be in those fights with up-and-coming guys.
So a lot of people are saying, hey, Thurman, he's ducking Spence.
Yes, you do have that narrative throughout boxing media and fandom.
Thurman posted on his social media
Yes.
16,533.
Which means, Ness?
It is a record that was broken, once held by Danny Garcia, which was about 13,150. Seats sold in the Barclays Center. Thurman and Garcia trumped that existing record by about 3,000 and some change.
Mm-hmm.
Usually you and I use ticket sales as a metric.
Yes.
I'll stop there. I don't need to say the rest.
Let's not forget that Spence was just, 35,000.
Didn't Spence do 6 million?
Yes.
But that was off of the Olympics. And while you and I don't care, some question whether people walked away from their television and blah, 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 meaning they don't want to give Spence true credit for the 6 million viewers, right?
Yes. On the flip side, I would say that's great promoting and that's great foresight by PBC and Al Heyman to put Spence, a up-and-comer star that he was, in that time slot. That would be the counterpoint to the narrative that, oh, he really didn't get 6 million. It was just the Olympics. The counterpoint would be, yeah, exactly. That was on purpose. Duh.
Well, Spence did 6, whatever. There's not a true comparison, but did you see what else he posted on his social media?
Yes, the 5.1 million viewers on CBS with Danny Garcia.
So if Keith knows this,
and I believe that's a peak, not an average, but the average was just below that. It wasn't.
But if Keith knows this, Danny knows this.
Of course. Well, that was public knowledge. I would say when the fight happened, like days after. Nielsen ratings.
Okay, so my point is, maybe these are the reasons that we've been getting the decisions that we've been getting. Keith's, maybe some call it ducking. Others say he's injured. Maybe this is waiting out to see what is your biggest option. Same for Danny. Instead of rushing in with a Porter fight, which can be called meaningless or can be called meaningful, meaning fight Porter and be the definitive next guy for Keith, or do what you did. Live off these numbers, fight a Rios, and wait for Keith. Does Keith go? I mean, you know what Keith told you and I, but does he really go back to Sean when this fight? I mean, he said it himself in the interview. You're going to release it later, where he said, after the Danny fight, people know me now. People run up, not know me now, but he said they come up to me and they're like, damn, dog, man, I really like what you did. You know, I ain't really like you, but now I like you. So is he waiting for the big Danny fight because of these numbers? I mean, numbers don't lie and numbers mean dollars.
No, because I think Spence represents money now. Like, you can't say that's purely about money because Spence, like you said, did $6 million. He did 35,000 in Sheffield with Brook, and yeah, you can say that was Brook in his hometown. But I'll say that it was because of that matchup too. That fight had hype in the UK and in the US. That was just a hyped fight. I think that money is not necessarily the equation. I think, again, it goes back to what the industry norm is. The paradigm of the sport is when you have two potential greats, you sort of marinate it a bit. Year, 2 years, 3 years, and then they fight. That's what you sort of do. That's what the industry has been doing for, what, 100 years now? Like, this isn't new. This is normal.
Well, I mean, you may think that, but isn't this what you do when you're on that level? Thurman, let's face it, whether you think Earl is the guy, right? Because many believe Pacquiao was the guy. That's what they believed. They thought Floyd was the chicken. Remember the KFC images of Floyd and how he was, quote unquote, running from Pacquiao?
Yes.
It all sounds like the same narrative. Boxing is a vicious circle, and we use the same narratives for every fight. We don't have different storylines.
No, it's I would say
it's always going to be he's ducking him or that guy's ducking this guy.
I would equate it to like when a great TV show has one single fantastic season and then gets canceled. That's boxing, and we just watch the reruns over and over again.
It's exactly what you said. It got canceled, but then it's Groundhog Day.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same. It's the same episodes over and over again. That's the only channel you can watch is that one season of a TV show. And the same narratives over and over again. Look at the Great White Hype narrative, like with Conor McGregor, Floyd Mayweather. Like, that's a common narrative.
No, they made a movie about it before Conor McGregor and Mayweather.
They made a fucking movie on it. So, like, the narratives that we see in boxing that gets used to promote fights are almost tried and true in a way. Like, even though we hate it, because we hate marination. Like, boxing fans and media usually despise that word, but we know that it is effective. We do know that.
Definitely. Which brings me to the point.
The point is,
Keith is Floyd, or can be in this scenario.
Yeah, just metaphorically.
Metaphorically, he can be in this scenario, and so can Earl. But for argument's sake, if Keith is Floyd and Earl is Pacquiao before the fight took place, because the world is going to, oh, Ness, get the fuck out of here. Earl is the truth. Because now they know that Pacquiao lost to Floyd. But before, the fucking world thought Pacquiao was the superhero that was going to destroy Mayweather legacy.
I wouldn't say the world, but it was definitely split. It was definitely 50-50.
Man, there was more casual fans that thought Floyd would win. There were plenty of hardcores who said, look, Floyd's going to win. But you kidding me? The casuals came out the woodworks. Why is that guy Floyd ducking him? Why is he run? Now he wants him to do testing? Why? Come on, man. You heard those stories for years. Let's just be honest. It's just the truth. So same thing for now, Keith. Keith is like, oh, no, he's ducking. It's like, oh, look, he's got an injury. No, he doesn't have an injury. He's ducking. Keith can milk it. That's how you become the next Floyd. That's how you get these $20 million, $35 million paydays. You don't get them by going straight at the guy everybody wants you to fucking fight. That's not what you do.
Agreed. And I think that Spence. Then what's Spence? What's Crawford in the scenario? If Keith is Mayweather, who's the other guys in this situation? Let's play out this story here.
So can one be De La Hoya? Is it?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
No, I'm asking you. Is it too late for one to be De La Hoya? I don't know. I don't know who's Crawford. Crawford is no one in this scenario yet. You see, I'm always been that guy, though. You guys know me for years now. Like, I don't care who they're hyping. Show me. So until then, like, the scenario is just Pacquiao and Mayweather, which is Keith and Earl at the moment. He's got to make a name for himself. Was there ever another guy on the upcoming? Like, oh, I mean, Keith was that guy.
You had a Cotto, I would say, at the time.
True.
In a sense, maybe it was a little bit different, but in a sense, Cotto.
I still say Keith was that guy. Keith had been calling out Floyd since 17-0. He became Floyd's WBA regular champion, and all of a sudden WBA decided in the welterweight division we're not going to mandate any. We're not going to mandate any mandatories. The super champ, he can do what he wants, but in the heavyweight division, in Joshua's case, oh no, motherfucker, you better defend that belt. So give Povetkin a shot. And before that, give Luis Ortiz a shot. But in that welterweight division, Mayweather, you ain't got to give Thurman. Who the fuck is that guy a shot? No way. That's how it went down, bro. Sucks. Just sucks.
I think no matter what we get in terms of the scenario playing out, the fight's going to marinate. It's going to take till at least 2019.
2019. The end of it. It's going to be fucking Wilder and Joshua end of, if not early 2020, because now with everything, the way that, Hearn is a magic maker.
And usually in combat sports, you have a setup year and then a culmination year. A setup year and then a culmination year. In my opinion, that's usually what happens. I think 2017 was a culmination year. We had a lot of great fights materialize and happen organically, naturally at the top of the divisions throughout all of boxing. And then I think this year's going to be setting up for 2019, the Wilder Joshua, Spence Thurman, etc. That is what this year's about, setting up for the next big fights.
Yeah, man. I'm just happy to be part of 2018 because we've seen such a great 17 that that we can say with a straight face, hey, Jamal James and Amir Khan in a comeback fight. Like, it doesn't sound so far-fetched. It's more like, no, Amir won't take it because Jamal's that dangerous. But think about it. A year ago, you wouldn't even have been saying that. So 17 laid some seeds down that I can't wait for 2018 to just grow.
You mean like boxing trends? Like the idea of, like, when we did that show about boxing copying, like the idea of like the best fighting the best, like the UFC mentality, right? Is that what you're sort of getting at? That 2017 was a year that a lot of great guys fought a lot of other great guys. So, hopefully that continues.
Well, it's not hopefully that continues. It's kind of brought us to a point where that's what has to happen. Like, look at it. Everyone's either tied up or, tied up in a fight, having a fight. And then when they come out of it, it's really hard for them to go anywhere else. Yes, some logically can take tune-ups the way that we're talking with, Joshua possibly getting one or two between Dillian and the David Price winner, Alexander Povetkin, all those things.
But very quickly, even though like those are like tune-ups in a sense,
they're still top level.
Those are top 5, top 10 opponents right there. Povetkin, for a lot of people, is still top 5 heavyweight. There's still people thinking that he beats a Wilder, for God's sake.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So I think
he got knocked out by Vladimir.
Same with Keith. Keith could fight Sean again, and that could be seen as a tune-up to marinate the Earl fight. But fighting Sean Porter is no tune-up, and 2 top 5 welterweights going at it, and arguably another fight of the year candidate. So hopefully that's what this year is like. The same like Keith Thurman fighting Jesse Vargas is being rumored. Like we've heard about that forever. That's not the usual tune-up coming off an injury.
Hey, man, Sonny in the UK says, hey, what the fuck? Amir Khan has big balls. So I guess he's indicating that maybe he would take that Jamal James fight. But that would be good because I've heard things like, I don't mind Sammy Vasquez either. I was high on Vasquez. Give him another shot.
You're forgetting now that for Amir Khan, yes, Amir Khan has balls. But for a long time, Amir Khan was almost like self-promoted and self-managed. That is no longer the case. He has Eddie Daddy Hearn on his side. You think Eddie Hearn's going to let him take a tough fight off a 2-year layoff? No way in hell. Eddie is sitting him down going, look, here's who you're fighting. You're going to make this much money. It's a ton. It's a fat check. You're going to get a good win on a huge card. You might be the main event, whatever it may be. He's going to present a package to Amir Khan that he's going to love. And that package is going to include a tune-up. Jamal James is not a tune-up.
Hey, can you check Someone said that Povetkin's never been knocked out by Klitschko. That's got to be wrong.
I can check really fast.
I thought that makes no sense.
You could be wrong. Maybe.
I don't remember that.
You are often wrong.
You are often wrong. It is so cool being in the studio right next to you.
That was great singing. Thank you. Thank you for that. That was a great
Young Ali in the flesh, ladies and gentlemen.
hashtag Border Wars 2. Check out patreon.com/the boxing voice. Check out the most lit boxing card of 2018 so far. I can guarantee that.
Liddy.
Mainly because there's been no cards so far in 2018.
Liddy.
Any other news while I'm looking up that Alexander Povetkin information?
Any other news? No. Final thoughts time.
Ooh, final thoughts time.
Boom. Boom.
I do have some TBV music. I can play some.
You ain't got none.
I don't have that song
If you
though.
bring
I don't have that outro song that's so synonymous with TBV. Final thoughts. I think Spence should get a somewhat like mid to late fight TKO win against Peterson and a competitive, fun, entertaining scrap. Lamont Peterson is going to be outgunned. He's going to be outboxed. I think Spence is too good, too powerful, too young for Lamont at this point. This is going to have shades of a Jarrett Hurd, Austin Trout fight, but not as much of a struggle for Spence, in my opinion, obviously. Robert Easter Jr. versus Javier Fortuna. Fantastic fight on paper. Arguably the best fight of the night, in my opinion, on paper. I cannot wait for that. I think, again, that's a running for fight of the year if all goes to plan. Shout out to Marcus Brown, Adam Wanaki fighting on the card. Hopefully they come out healthy, of course, and continue to build up their careers. And plus, Mikey Garcia, Sergey Lipinets, the injury. Hopefully Lipinets heals up as well. That hand looked awful. I think Mikey's probably going to stay busy, take a stay busy fight, whoever that might be at 140 or at 135. I don't think he's going to go down 135 and take a Robert Easter Jr. or Lainez. There's a reason he did not take that fight next. And it's going to be curious to see what Mike Garcia does next. Povetkin versus David Price on the AJ Parker undercard. I hope that happens. I think it's a fantastic heavyweight fight for entertainment standpoint and just to set up narratives. I love those type of fights. I love a fight of this caliber where it's a top 5 guy going against a top 20 guy.
I told Al Heyman I only want top 5 fighters.
And, we're going to see it set up another big fight potentially. So that's going to be curious to see. I am Matt the Hipster Hunter. You can catch me at Mixed Combat News on Twitter, Matt Hunter TBV on Instagram, my MMA podcast, Mixed Combat Radios on Patreon, SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes, etc. Peace.
And my final thoughts are, don't forget to tune in to Showtime. Like Matt said, it's even going to be on YouTube, you said, right? The undercards?
Yes, and Facebook.
So watch all the fights. Support your favorite sport. Don't forget to support your favorite show. Head on over to patreon.com/the boxing voice. Check out the magnificent work that was put in by all the participants of Border Wars, the magnificent videography work done by Beetlejuice film crew out in Australia, part of TBV Australia.
Trying to do that sound, but message. It was not a knockout. It was a unanimous decision against Povetkin with Klitschko. He may have been knocked down, but he was not knocked out.
There you go. Always bringing you the facts. Final thoughts, I guess, on Errol. Yeah, man, I expect him to get the win. And with Easter, let's see. He should get it, but he gives up his height. He doesn't fight, with his reach. Fortuna swings bombs. He's loopy. And sometimes the straight fighter can get caught with the loopy shots because he doesn't see them. Lou DeBella and Matt are claiming that there's no way this one is in a war. So we'll see if it plays out to be a jam-packed fight. And the rest is news, right? We gotta wait out to see what Mikey does and freaking Alexander Povetkin and even Dillian White and Lucas Brown. I mean, it is what it is. Saturday night is what I'm excited for. We should be doing an immediate reaction show. You can catch us here on youtube.com/Thaboxingvoice. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, get those notifications when we do go live. And also drop that 5-star review. Be next episode's first review read on the live show since the last one read. You know what I mean? Follow me on Instagram and Twitter @NestGTO. Peace.